What's good, Chiefs Kingdom? It's your boys back again on a Sunday edition of the Kingdom Cast NFL picks. Got Nick, Bo, and as always, Scott here. We're glad you could join us. If you haven't already, please click the like and subscribe button. Turn on notifications so you can know when we go live. We try to do this on a regular scheduled basis, but life gets in the way, unfortunately. So coming to you this morning instead of last night. We're going to pick some games and break down some Chiefs Raiders. It's Raiders week. To me, Raiders week, we get 2 a year, and it's like Christmas for me. So, beating Raiders doesn't get any better than that. I think I saw something. Chiefs have beaten Raiders like 13 of the last 15 games, somewhere in there. So, kind of own that team. We'll break that down later. How are you guys doing today?
Morning to you guys. I'm doing great. It's 8:30 here in Washington. So I woke up just a little bit ago, got to sleep in. So feeling good. Ready to talk some football. How you feeling, Nick?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I also just woke up, but it's much later here, so I'm a lazier piece of shit than you are. But shake your head, Scott. It's okay. No, I'm good, man. I'm excited for some football. I enjoy watching the Chiefs on prime time. Kind of opens up my day to do some other things too, since we don't have like the noon or the 3 o'clock game. So ready to whoop some Raiders ass, man.
Yeah, indeed. I'm ready as well. So we're just going to start picking some games, and then we'll get into the Chiefs Raiders. We'll give you some news, some Chiefs news going on there, kind of break down, give us some more thoughts on the game, and then make our score predictions. So what do we got first?
Yeah, man, there were a lot of games with some big spreads. So, I mean, I tried to pick the games that had like somewhat close spreads, kind of make it a little fun for us. A lot of games that could go either way, except this first one. This first one I just thought was funny because of last week. You'll see why when I throw it up. Bills at the Jets, right? We all know what happened to the Bills last week, getting absolutely ran over by the Jags, which was kind of
that's like twice as many points as the Bills scored last week.
Exactly. So that's why I brought this one up. I just thought it'd be fun to talk about. What are you feeling about this game, Scott?
Has the league figured out Josh Allen? Is that what's going on here? Is he done?
I think the Bills are dead.
Are the Bills dead?
The Bills are dead.
Are the Bills dead? Is it over?
Josh Allen just tried too hard.
The Jets, they kind of snuck up and beat some teams. They beat the Bengals. They beat Tennessee, right? They beat Tennessee, who got on a hot stretch after that's one of the best team, or at least they got the team with the best record in the AFC. The Bills got some issues. I'm still not sold on their defense being all spectacular. I know they've had maybe like 2 shutouts this year, but it was against atrocious teams, and one of those was a backup quarterback came in early and played most of the game. Their running game isn't very strong. Outside of Stephon Diggs, they got Emmanuel Sanders, but he's a decent second receiver. He's not somebody that is a premier number one at this point in his career. I don't even know if he ever was, honestly. He had a couple of decent years when he went there to Denver. I'm trying to think of who he was with before he went to the Broncos, but it doesn't really matter.
Peyton Manning made a lot of people look really good.
Right. And Mike White has looked like a pretty good quarterback. There was a story about how the team chants Mike White whenever he comes into the locker room, and got to make Zach Wilson the first round quarterback. It would feel real good, but I still think I'd probably pick the Bills to win, but I don't know if you can pick them to cover these big point spreads at this point after the last few weeks. They lost to Tennessee, and then they lost to the Jags, who the Jags are awful. I mean, there was talk 3 weeks ago, are they going to win a game or not? So I'd probably stay away from that game just because of the spread, but I'll pick the Bills to win.
All right, Nick, how you feeling about this?
Well, I mean, I feel like it was freaking hilarious that the Bills lost to the Jags last week. So that made my heart smile when I saw the final score there. Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Jets fans. Like, you keep drafting quarterbacks, and then, I mean, then you have like some backup come in and just light it up. And so, like, now it's like, okay, so what are we going to do, right? I mean, that's the last thing that they needed was some quarterback controversy, right? But I agree with you, Scott. This is tough. I mean, it's tough to try to say that you're going to pick with the spread here. I'm just going to pick the Jets just out of hope. So screw the Bills. I mean, Josh Allen, like he's a good player, but he hasn't been great this year, right? I think that last year is showing to be more of an aberration than the an ascendance. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I like the Bills to win, but I don't like this spread at all. And I actually kind of do like the Jets to win even. I like Scott brought up, I like the fact that the whole team starts chanting, Mike, White, Mike, White, Mike, White. I think the crowd's going to get into that. Man, the last couple of weeks have shown you, though, like the AFC is trying its hardest to let the Chiefs stay in this thing, right? Maybe even give us that number 1 spot in the playoffs if they if all the teams perform like this. I would pick the Bills to win, but only by a field goal, if that. I've seen them just kind of falling off. All the teams in the AFC that were these top juggernauts kind of been falling off, not looking so great. So unless they turn it around and start clicking again, I see them falling hard. But yeah, give me the Bills to win, but yeah, not by the spread.
Yeah, and I might pick the Bills to win by 7-10, but 2 touchdowns, that's too rich for me the way they've played here lately. And
I think that's Vegas wanting you to take the Jets.
So.
I think that's Vegas's ploy to get people to bet on the Jets, man. Like, there's no way they're going to cover that after last week. All right, the next game we got Browns at the Patriots. Patriots are favored 2.5. Got to have the Cam edition in there because the news we all know is Cam Newton's back. I don't think he's going to be playing this week, but man, he got that town energized with his little comeback video and everything, his little appearance. What are you guys thinking about this game, Nick? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one, right? The Browns are kind of one of those teams. I'm
thinking the Panthers. I don't know why I put that in there.
I was gonna skip over it, bro.
It's early. I apologize. Gosh, that's what happens when you rush something.
You only set everything up for us, Bo. What are you doing, man?
Haste makes waste, Bo.
Wow. Never mind what I just said. Wow. All right.
It's an alertness test. You were trying to make sure Nick and I were paying attention, Bo.
I need another cup of coffee here. Anyway.
But yeah, so I mean, the Browns, it's weird how they get rid of OBJ and they play a lot better, right? I mean, is that guy that much of a cancer to that team? Or is it just, is it just not related? I mean, I don't know. It's very odd, but the Patriots they're just one of those middling teams, right? Where they're not great and they're not terrible. I find it odd that the Patriots are favored in this game, to be honest. I'm going to go with the Browns.
Bo?
I agree with Nick. It's fascinating how when OBJ leaves the team, like the team immediately starts playing better. We kind of already saw that. Man, but I heard there's no Nick Chubb, so that's a little different this week for them. I'm not sure about Kareem Hunt's status, but he's out too. So yeah, no Chubb, no Hunt, no Browns for me. I'm gonna go Patriots.
Yeah, but their third string, what's his name? Johnson or whatever. Johnson. Yeah. He's probably better than anybody that the Patriots have on their team. I don't know, from what I saw. Maybe that was a one-off performance. I think that like their running game, I mean, they have bruisers definitely that can break tackles, but I mean, a lot of that's because they have a phenomenal run blocking offensive line. So
I think Dearness Johnson had such a good day because everybody's like, oh, no Hunt, no Chubb. They have no running game. And they didn't realize they do have a running back. But now I think teams will be kind of, ready for that in the sense that, like, hey, abandon run defense. But
Yeah.
the dude's
That's
good.
probably
Not
fair.
gonna lie, by any means. That dude's a beast.
Yeah.
I don't know how much to take into the Browns are better without OBJ. It's maybe a smaller sample size, but the dude's clearly a pain in the ass.
Right.
And I saw a video going around, I think it was on Twitter, where he was standing there on the sideline and there's this other guy sitting on the bench and he was kind of looking away from him. And OBJ's standing there and he goes, man, I want to score a touchdown. And the guy sitting on the bench, he goes, man, I just want to win. Like, and you could almost just like feel the tension in the video just watching it. So I don't know. I don't know how much to make of that. The Browns, Nick Chubb being hurt, like Bo talked about, and Kareem Hunt being hurt. The Dearness Johnson, I'd probably take him on the Chiefs, though, as a starting running back.
In a heartbeat.
He looks like he's got some elusiveness and some burst. And I think his longest run of the season is longer than 17 yards. So I would probably take that at this point on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But it's hard to discount the Patriots and the coaching and the defense. And Baker Mayfield, he's kind of a hot, cold. He's a little fluky. Or not fluky, that's not the right word. Streaky, I guess you could say. I picked on the Shank Club NFL show that I do on Saturdays yesterday. I picked the Browns. I'm almost wanting to waffle on that pick and move over to the Patriots now. But I'm going to stick with the Browns. Patriots are still in transition. They got a rookie quarterback. I think the Browns can run the ball. They have more weapons on offense. And, so I'm going to lean the Browns to win outright.
Browns are just one of those teams, man. They've just been hit or miss all season. When they look good, they look good.
Right.
When they're off, you're just yep, Browns.
They lost to the Steelers 2 weeks ago at home.
Yeah.
And then they go on and they smoke the Bengals, who look really good. The Bengals have the best record in the AFC. Or tied for the best record in the AFC at that point. So looks like we got Nick back here. I took Browns and Nick took Browns, and Bo's going with New England.
I'm going to New England, yeah. All right, so the next game we got on the docket here, New Orleans at the Titans. Titans are favored by 3. As we all know, when it's a field goal, it's just usually home field advantage, so this is a pick-'em game. It's kind of why I picked the next one. I mean, all the next ones don't have really large spreads, so they're all kind of pick-'ems, but just something to, help balance out our pick-'em scores, maybe gets Scott further in the lead. Maybe I can catch up here. What are you guys feeling about this game? You think the Saints can overthrow the Titans without Derrick Henry, Nick? What do you think?
Who's playing quarterback for the Saints?
Simeon. I think it's Trevor Simeon.
Another one of Adam Gase's destroyed quarterbacks.
No Alvin Kamara either.
Oh, they don't have.
I didn't hear that.
Yesterday he was ruled out.
Okay.
It's tough to pick the Saints in this one, right? I mean, I think the Titans, you kind of saw like emotional boost in that game against the Rams, right? You see teams rally. Like there were, several years ago, it was the Chiefs were an awful team. I think it was right after they fired Todd Haley. They took out the then undefeated Packers with Romeo Crennel as head coach. It was probably the reason that Crennel got hired as a head coach, right?
Right.
Which was obviously a mistake because he was terrible and the Chiefs they stunk then. But so I think sometimes you see that, right? But I still think the Titans are a good team. I think they're well coached. Vrabel is a good coach. Those guys are bought in. Tannehill is a good quarterback. He's not great, but he's not bad either. He's capable of winning. So I can't pick against the Titans here.
Scott, how you feeling?
Yeah, no Alvin Kamara means no Saints pick for me. He's the engine that runs that car. He's their offense. So, and the quarterback situation there, even if Taysom Hill plays, he's kind of like a gadget. I don't know. yeah, I can't pick the Saints without Alvin Kamara. I think the Titans win. I will say, did you either of you watch that Titans-Rams game?
I did not.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so that was more about Matthew Stafford, though, than it was the Titans, right? He threw a terrible pick six, and then he had another bad turnover that gave him a short field. So, yeah, I don't know how much to read into the Titans without Derrick Henry. It's, they went on the road and beat a team who was tied for the best record in the NFC.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I said, that Matthew Stafford made some bad plays and set him up with some short fields, and the offense didn't really look all that explosive for Tennessee without Derrick Henry. So, be interesting to see. But yeah, I'm picking Saints. Bo?
I mean,
Or I'm
both
picking
teams are.
Titans.
You're picking the Titans? All right.
Yeah.
Both teams are pretty beat up right now. I think that's why it's so close. You know what I mean? If they had their all-stars, it might be a little different. I still would give the edge to the Titans just for their receiving core. I know the Saints got that Callaway guy and a couple other people, but I mean, they're missing a true number one. Titans have all their receivers. And for that, if they start Simeon, I would take an experienced quarterback over a not so experienced quarterback any day. And for that reason, I got the Titans with the field goal.
Yeah, when you're rolling out Broncos hand-me-downs, you're in bad shape.
Yeah, exactly. All right, next game up, we have the Rams at the 49ers. Wasn't even really going to talk about this one, but all your Shant Club guys really enjoy the 49ers for some reason. They have a lot of hopes in their quarterback, Jimmy G, over there. Scott, you think they can take down the Rams? The Rams are looking really good. You just brought them up. What do you think?
No, I don't think the 49ers win this game. I mean, when you're a 3.5 point favorite on the road, that kind of tells you what Vegas thinks about the game. 49ers, they just got waxed by the Cardinals. I saw something, I couldn't believe this. I read this. They've lost 10 of their last 11 home games, the 49ers have. That's simply embarrassingly bad.
But were they counting home games as those games that they're playing in Arizona?
I don't know. How many games did they play in Arizona, though?
Well, I don't know. It was last year during that, because they couldn't play the sporting events and because of COVID, right? So weren't they playing in Arizona for like a month or something, 2 months?
Yeah, they didn't mention that, so I don't know if that means true home games or
Right.
if those were like the Arizona home games. But either way, you couldn't
Doesn't
win
matter.
4 of those. Like
Yeah.
The Rams, I think they're right up there. They're in that top 3. They're in the top tier of the NFC. Matthew Stafford had a bad game last week, but he's been on fire in the larger sample size most of the season outside of that one game. So, yeah, I like the Rams to win easily. I think they get out to a big lead. And there's just a lot of people those guys, Nick and those guys, they say that, well, the 49ers and Shanahan has owned the Rams. Well, that was Jared Goff Rams, not Matthew Stafford Rams.
Yeah,
and
different
Rams
team
beefed up
altogether.
Right. Rams even beefed up that defensive line. Von Miller, he came in and had a sack and had a big play in that game last week. So he looks good still. I like the Rams big, easy in this game. Nick?
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter as long as OBJ gets a touchdown, evidently. What happens. So, yeah, I mean, the Rams couldn't telegraph more to everybody that they're all in, right? They've given up every draft pick for the next 37 years to get people, and
Yeah.
they're taking OBJ. They've got Von Miller now. It's tough to pick against them here because the 49ers are they're shaky, right? I mean, they've got a lot of outside noise right now in that market, which you can't affect people. Sorry, my computer told me it's just about to die, distracted me. So I mean, I'm going to pick the Rams here, but I mean, I think what you saw with Matt Stafford was that, I mean, you can force him into a bad game, right? And you can force him to make bad decisions. And there's I know that he's a great quarterback, and the Lions are a terrible organization, but like he wasn't winning games, right, with them either. So I think that just as much as it's the Lions are terrible, you can get to Matt Stafford as well. So so maybe we're starting to see some of that shine wear off. Scott, I know you disagree with that, but I don't know.
I mean, it's one game. Like the guy was leading the league in passing yards up until 2 weeks ago. So and he had plenty of 4,000 or 5,000 yard passing seasons and 30, 40 touchdown pass seasons with the Lions. The Lions are a joke of a franchise. They're that bad.
I mean, everybody called him Stat Mafford, right? Because like he got a lot of great stats, and he couldn't pull out wins, and they would lose close games. So, so I mean, I'm not saying he's awful. I'm still picking the Rams, but I think that you saw last week that some of the reasons that maybe the Lions lost some of those games that they could have won, right? So,
yeah, I would say that the Lions' issues when they had Matt Stafford and losing was like 90% Lions in the roster and 10% Matthew Stafford, though.
I feel like the Lions were like the Vikings this year. They were just losing by like one score so often. Like it was kind of unbelievable, and everybody was trying to pin it on Stafford, and he's just like, "Look, we're losing by one." But I agree with Nick. The Rams really showing their cards. They're pushing their chips all into the center, ready to try to go all the way this year. It looks like OBJ and Von Miller, and God, I mean that team is getting stacked.
They lost Robert Woods, though. I don't know if you two saw that or not.
No, I've kind of been out of touch this week.
Same day they signed OBJ, Robert Woods tore his ACL and he's out for the season. So
that's brutal. Ooh, that's brutal.
Yeah, that's a tough loss.
Yeah, I mean, but like you talk about injury-prone teams, the 49ers, I mean, man, they could have 4 guys go out this week. I mean, they're just kind of known for that. I know they just got Kittle back, but that guy's like a candle. One good blow, he's out, I like the Rams. They just look way too good. I don't think the 49ers can even keep up with that team.
I really hope Nick's watching right now.
Oh, the other Nick. I was like, of course he's watching.
No.
I mean, but they just look too good. Yeah, they kind of had a little bit of struggles, but I mean, like Nick said, when you get a quarterback making under pressure, making decisions like that, like, yeah, you're going to get some weird plays. I think they're going to game plan for that pretty well and come into California and just or to Santa Clara and take over. So give me the Rams. Give me more than 3.5 too.
Yeah. That's funny you say that. I always like to call him George Brittle on social media. That really pisses people off. It's pretty funny, kind of trolls them, but we call him George Candle, birthday candle Kittle or something. That's pretty good too. I like that.
I think I read somewhere like he's only played half the games he's been contracted to play. Like,
yeah, he's missed a lot of time. He's been hurt a lot, no doubt.
Yeah, but you guys are underrating his blocking. So
yeah, right.
That's true. He is a decent blocker.
Those 3 games this season when he's out there, he's a blocking monster.
He came back last week, and 49ers still got their ass kicked. So,
yeah. All right, next game. Moving to the AFC West, the Eagles are taking on the Broncos at Mile High. Broncos are favored to win it, but barely. You think they can defeat the Eagles, Nick? Vegas barely thinks they can.
I mean, can they? Yeah. I think that, they had a surprising win against Cowboys. Cowboys were a team that, everybody's ready to crown halfway through the season. And then, they got their asses kicked, right? But a lot of that loss, not to take away from the Broncos, but to take away from the Broncos is that the Cowboys made some head scratcher decisions, right? Going for it on 4th down. So I just I don't think that that's going to be something that you see repeated a lot by the Broncos this year. I said it last week. They're telegraphing that they'd given up on the season. I thought by trading Von Miller, they're looking to the future. They are a mess at quarterback, and the Eagles, they're not a great team either, right? There's a lot of question marks around them, but I'm going to pick the Eagles just because, mostly I hate the Broncos, but I think the Eagles can win this one as well. I don't think the Broncos are a good team. I think we've seen them lose to some questionable teams this year. So give me the Eagles.
Damn it. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Nick's got the
Bo
Eagles.
back.
I heard
I guess
that.
it's my turn. I guess it's my turn to drop out at some point now. So so Nick's picking the Eagles. I'm going to pick the Eagles too. I'm not sold on the Broncos. You look at their record. That's the only good win they've had all season.
Yeah.
The Eagles are definitely not world beaters. They're nothing to write home about. They're not. I don't even think they're a playoff team. But the Broncos, that was kind of like a Cowboys going to cowboy last week kind of effort and performance. You go on the road and you beat the Vikings with the Starbucks barista Cooper Rush, and then you get Dak Prescott back and you lose at home to the Broncos. So Cowboys going to cowboy. They're known for that. They do that every year. I like the Eagles. I wouldn't bet on this game, but yeah, I'm going to pick Eagles as well. Bo?
Man, that Cowboys game was unbelievable. I was watching other games. I look at the scores, and it was like 30-0 in the fourth quarter. Just like, what am I witnessing right now? I thought the Cowboys were going to slaughter the Broncos. Good for the Broncos. I just don't think they were playing the Cowboys of the previous 2 weeks. I think the Broncos aren't a good football team. They haven't shown me anything that's going to say that they're going to even beat the Eagles. So, the Eagles, I mean, they played a lot of close games against some really good teams. I mean, they haven't been winning, but they're a tough football team. They got a pretty solid defense, and
They just bombed the Lions, right?
Well, yeah. Who isn't at this point, though? Yeah, I got the Eagles. I'll take the Eagles over the Broncos for sure, by a field goal. And oh yeah, I dropped out. I was like, Nick, are you going to go? Forgot you went already.
Yeah, I'll get
Next game we got here, Vikings at the Chargers. Chargers are slated to win. Looks like just a pick 'em home field advantage game. What are you thinking about this one, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any faith in the Chargers this year. I think that they are trying to lose games. Justin Herbert has pulled out some wins there for him. So the Vikings are kind of the same way, right? Only I think the Vikings have more talent on their team overall. I think that the Chargers' run defense is pretty awful, right? And so the Vikings with their rushing attack, I think it matches up pretty favorably against them. So, I'm going to take the Vikings here. I think that, again, like Scott said, it's not a game that I would bet on, but I think the Vikings are going to take it. So
I don't.
Vikings to me are. I was talking about how sneaky of a team they are and all this other nonsense, and then they lose to the Cowboys when I pick them. And then they're one of those teams where every time I pick them to win, they lose. Every time I pick them to lose, they win somehow. I'm just always on the opposite side of that coin with them. The Chargers been kind of exposed here this last month.
Yeah, a lot.
This isn't like a game like they had a bad game, like, oh, the Bills lost to the Jags, or they didn't have their head in it, or they came out and thought they were just going to win because, the name on the helmet, the logo. Chargers got waxed by the Ravens. They've been they lost to the Patriots. Then they eked out a win against the Eagles last week.
They barely beat us with 4 turnovers.
Yeah. Barely beat us with 4 turnovers. They've gambled with going for it in fourth and long and 4th downs and bad field position and got it early, and that helped them kind of eke out some wins, but that has kind of regressed back to the mean there, and it's also cost them here lately in some games. Nick said it. Chargers run defense in particular. I don't think their defense is that good. The Chiefs almost put up 500 yards in that game against them and had 4 turnovers. So how many yards would they have had if they didn't turn the ball over? That wouldn't have been a close game. Vikings, they can expose and they can attack the Chargers where they're weakest in running defense. Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison both are good running backs. They've got a good running game. They've got some weapons. Justin Jefferson, receiver, Adam Thielen. Defense is up and down. Chargers being 3-point home favorite just goes to show you that think this is a pick 'em game. I think we're starting to see the Chargers collapse. It's kind of weird. Like previous seasons, it was they would start off and get themselves in such a big hole and then dig out and just miss it at the end. This year, it seems like they got out to a hot start, got out of the head, and now they're kind of blowing it. So, I'm going to pick the Vikings as well. I like their chances this game.
Yeah, the Vikings are just one of those teams that I'm learning now. I can't bet on them to win because whenever I do too, they somehow just
Right.
give it to the other team, like literally hand it over, whether it's throwing a weird interception in overtime, losing by a field goal. They just find a way to lose. And I can't pick them anymore for that reason. I told Ashley this morning, I was like, I'm sorry. I'm going to put it out there in the universe. I can't pick them anymore. Yeah, I got to go with the Chargers for that reason. I mean, I can name so many more weapons on the Vikings than I can the Chargers. Like Scott was just saying, you know what I mean? There's just so much talent in Minnesota. I don't understand how they're not just a dominant team. Probably Kirk Cousins, probably his
bad coaching.
But I'll take the Chargers in this one.
Well, you're probably doing them Ashley a favor there by picking the Chargers because, like I said, every time you pick them to win,
right?
On the side,
yeah.
So.
Well, somebody's trend's going to be broken, either Scott or Bo's.
There we go.
Right.
So,
all right. Now the game we're all really here for, our game, Sunday Night Football in Las Vegas. Nosebleeds were $635 this morning. Can't imagine the Raiders get that much of a draw. That's pretty insane to think. But other than that, how are you guys feeling about this game? Think last week was enough of a push to get our offense finally clicking. Our defense is on par now. What are you guys thinking? How do you guys feel?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everything has played so favorably for the Chiefs this season so far, like outside of the things that have happened to them in game, right? We're 5-4. I think that if we win, we'll be 6-4. It gives us like a 70% chance of making the playoffs. 6-4 is the record we had the year we went to the Super Bowl, right? Things are playing out very favorably, and it's just up to the Chiefs if they can figure their dysfunction out on the field and their execution problems on field out, and then I mean they can make a run here, put things together, and really be in a good position for the postseason. So you look at the past few games. I know that it's been against lesser competition, but we've really seen a pass rush come together. We've seen the defense really start to gel a little bit, right? And really kind of uncharacteristically, we've seen the offense struggle, which I know that people say, well, they've been struggling all year, but they hadn't been struggling all year. I mean, we put up 35 against the Ravens. We put up over 30 against the Browns, right? It's just really the past couple of weeks where you've seen us really kind of struggle to get yards. And I think that they've maybe lost a little bit of faith in what they do that works. And they've been trying to do some other things like, as soon as we started checking down the ball, right? Everybody's like, we need to check down more. We need to check down more. As soon as he starts checking down the ball, guess what? Like we're not scoring points, right? I think that Patrick needs to just look for the open receivers on the field. I know that's easier said than done, but I mean, that's really the heart of the problem is that I think he's getting a little in his head too much and not just feeling the game out like he normally does. You saw him roll out, complete that game-sealing pass to Tyreek Hill. That looked like the old Patrick Mahomes. Hopefully that's the thing that snaps it. Did you guys see Aaron Rodgers talking about Mahomes on the Pat McAfee show? Did you ever watch that clip?
Yeah.
And he said sometimes it's like a quarter or it's a play or, that will snap you out of like a funk, right? and get you back like where you need to be. So let's hope that that's the catalyst to turn in his mindset around, and that they just continue to trust in what they do that they know works, right? So I think the Chiefs are going to come out strong in this game. The Raiders always play us hard, so I'm not going to pick this to be like a blowout win, even with all the dysfunction on the Raiders. But give me the Chiefs. I think they're going to win probably like a 30 to 27, 30 to 26, something like that. It's going to be probably a close game right up until the end. Derek Carr has been playing well this year, but ultimately there's too much dysfunction on the Raiders, and the Chiefs just have too much talent. So I see us pulling this win out. So,
Scott, do you have similar feelings? Different feelings? What do you think?
I don't think Patrick Mahomes has been in a funk this year. Someone put this out that he has the same amount of touchdown passes through 9 games this year as he did 2 years ago. He's only behind last year's passing yardage at this point in the season by like 100 yards.
Yeah.
The drops, we've talked about it. I'm almost tired of like coming on here every week and having to dispel this myth that he's been figured out or he's struggling or he's not as good as he's been. There's a couple plays I watched last week where there was a deep ball to Hardman, and it looks like Hardman's covered, but people that are breaking it down showed it to similar plays from seasons past, and like Tyreek or Hardman kept running and got to where he threw the ball. Like Hardman had both defenders on the left side of the field, and if he just cuts and continues to run, he's got that side of the field open over there, and he can outrun both of those guys. He's fast enough. I just think a lot of these miscues and these things that are happening are not necessarily Patrick Mahomes' fault. Nick talked about the pass rush. Frank Clark has been dominating these last 2 weeks. Maybe he's healthy.
Yeah.
Maybe he's refocused. Maybe both. But Melvin Ingram came in, looked good. That Green Bay Packers offensive line is a good offensive line, and the Chiefs beat them up and pressured Jordan Love on it was 49 or 50% of his pass attempts. They held a pretty good running attack in A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones to a relatively quiet night. I think you're seeing some of these younger guys, especially at linebacker, with Willie Gay and Nick Bolton playing more reps. Those guys are in there stuffing the run. Nick Bolton is a tackle for loss machine. If that defensive line, if the Melvin Ingram and Chris Jones going back to tackle, if you can have Melvin Ingram and Frank Clark causing havoc on the outside and have Chris Jones back in the middle where he's best,
where he belongs,
crushing that, just blowing up the middle of that offense, that line of scrimmage, that could be big trouble for the AFC.
Right.
And give Patrick Mahomes some more possessions, take some of the pressure off of him in the offense. You've seen them pressing, I think, more than a lot of the receivers. This is, you juxtapose that with the Raiders. It seems like every week they're losing a coach or losing a first-round draft pick. I don't know what the deal here is. They've lost another first-round pick over just threatening some people online, flashing guns, saying he's going to kill them. So I don't
bad
know what's
ideas
going on in Las Vegas. Yeah, bad idea for sure. I see this one, the Raiders, they just lost to the Giants. They lost to the Bears. They needed overtime to beat the Dolphins. Their week one win against the Ravens was a almost loss kind of situation. Give them credit for pulling out the win, but I don't think much of the Raiders. I think you see the Chiefs kind of explode on the Raiders this week, and I think you see the Chiefs win this game somewhere in the 35-38 to 20, somewhere there. I think they win by at least 10.
Okay.
In Las Vegas. I just don't see the Raiders being able to hang with the Chiefs. I don't, especially not like Nick said, that pass rush, that defensive line is figured out, and they can. We all know what happens with Derek Carr.
Yeah, he starts throwing picks.
Right. Just ask Joey Bosa; he'll tell you. You hit him and he falls apart like a pinata. So, yeah, I like the Chiefs. Like I said, I like the Chiefs to win by 10 or more in this game. Bo?
Yeah. After watching last week, I'm a little skeptical that one play it was a game-winning play, but it was just a third down conversion, which we kind of do 60% of the time anyway. I'm a little skeptical that play is going to be enough momentum to snap our receiving core out of the funk that they're in. I don't think our offense is in a funk. I think our receiving core is. They just can't catch balls. We've talked about that so many times on here. I don't think Patrick's in a funk. Our O-line, I mean, they're just retooled. They're a brand new O-line. I think they just got to gel and learn how to communicate, and we're kind of seeing that come. We're seeing a lot more protection, that we're seeing an actual pocket. I think once our receiving core gets out of their funk, then you'll see our offense just click. Because, I mean, like we've said it here before, how many times do all these games look different if our receivers just catch the damn ball? So I do kind
Don't
of agree
stop running in the middle of routes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to see a better run game, but I would like to see our receivers catching more balls than anything. That would dispel all the myths about Patrick trying too hard or forcing stuff or any of this stuff, saying like putting the attention on him, which it shouldn't be. And I don't think it is. It should be on our receiving core. But then you brought up, we actually have a defense now. It's not the best defense, but it's not the worst defense. We're not the talking point every week about like having the worst defense in league history for the past 60 years. So, I mean, I think we kind of ironed some things out, getting some key players, making some key moves. Really enjoyed the pass rush like we were talking about. Everybody was talking last week like, oh, that game would have been different with Aaron Rodgers. That game would have been different with Aaron Rodgers. Like, he would have had the same O-line. You know what I mean? We probably wouldn't have rushed as much, but like still getting through that same O-line. So really liked what I saw last week, even though our offense didn't do so great. Who knows? I would like to think that play carries on over this week and our offense just starts firing. We score that 50 burger I've been looking for all year, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be in the 30s, if anything. We just have a way to let off the throttle when we do start pushing a team anyway. So I'd say like 35-28 Chiefs. That's my spiel.
Yeah, something to think about too, though, is the Chiefs on that offensive line you were talking about then, that they're missing Niang and Rimmers at right tackle. So I think it's Andrew Wiley. I don't know that Kyle Long is ready to go yet. So you might see some Andrew Wiley at tackle. But you can scheme away from that. You can give him some extra help over on that side of the line. You can roll plays to the left. You can kind of design some things around that. So I don't know that is crushing. As long as you still got the other core, you've got the left tackle and you've got that interior guys. Creed Humphrey and those guys have been really good in the center of the line for pass protecting. They're talking like people are talking about Creed Humphrey. That he might be an All-Pro in his first season at center.
Yeah.
He's been that.
I saw some of his percentages and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been that good. So don't like seeing L'Jarius Sneed on there. He looked to me like he had played the best game of the season.
Yeah,
he
looked
flashed
really
a lot last year, and he made some plays earlier this year, but he had not looked as good. Maybe he thought, well, as he fallen off, maybe that was a little bit of a mirage. Maybe he's not that good, but he came out and he was making plays last week. Had nice interception, had coverage there, broke up another pass there in the end zone. He had some tackles. Trying to think of the running play. I don't remember where it was at in the game, but he cut in there from behind and tripped up the running back and tackled him for a short gain. And there was daylight ahead of that dude. There was a lot of green grass. So, yeah, be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Chiefs, let's talk about like what's going on in the AFC in the playoffs now. Bo, you said, Chiefs win this game, or maybe it was Nick said 6-4.
We're going for first in the AFC.
2 games behind the Titans, and that puts you right in there with the Vikings. Now, unfortunately, those 4 losses are against AFC teams. They have the Bills, the Ravens. Those are tough losses because of who they're to. But, yeah, win this game, you're right back in it. You are right back in it. with some home games coming down the stretch, 2 games against the Broncos. You've got some teams, the Cowboys, maybe their defense can be had. The Broncos kind of exposed them maybe a little bit. As this defense can get things turned around on the line, start pressuring the quarterback. That's going to help the linebackers. That's going to slow down the run game. That's going to the coverage guys. They don't have to cover as long. That could be huge. They win this game, they're right back in the thick of it.
Yeah, man, the AFC is trying their hardest to let us in. I mean, the Ravens losing to the Dolphins. I think, if the Saints somehow take down the Titans, we're right there. We're 1 game away. We're playing for first place in the AFC West. We're playing essentially for the first place in the AFC. If we can win out, that's not unobtainable.
Yeah, no doubt. Nick, what do you think about playoffs right now? Where the Chiefs are at?
Yeah, I think that it kind of reminds me of when the Dolphins beat the Patriots that last game of the season to get us the 2 seed. We secured that first round bye that ended up getting us home field advantage throughout, right? I mean, there's some fluky favorable things happening. I mean, the the Ravens losing to Miami.
Yeah.
That was a fun game to watch. I mean, somehow the Miami defense looked like the 85 Bears out there, just kicking the shit out of the Ravens. It was fun for me to watch because I'm not a Ravens fan at all. So it's just, can the Chiefs take advantage, right? That's the whole thing, right? I mean, the Titans are going to start to look human here without Derrick Henry. At least that's what I think is going to happen. We've had some top contenders lose just to some teams that I don't know if they were overlooking them or if they maybe just, got hot. I think some of these teams got hot too early in the year, right? You see teams do that, they flash and then they kind of start to lose it down the stretch. We've seen the Chiefs do that before, right? Where they struggle down the stretch. So everything's primed. It's just, can the Chiefs put it together and take advantage? And we have all the tools. I think we have the coaches to do it. I'm excited to see our defense really they're playing aggressive, especially on the later games. They're just showing sellout blitz and they're getting there and
going for it. Yeah, showing it and going for it.
And so I'm excited to see that. We just need to make sure that, when we do that, you don't have a lot of people in coverage, right? So all it takes is one guy getting beat for a big play if they don't get home fast enough. But that's exciting to see. I mean, I think that they've lacked some of that aggressive look in the previous games, right? It looked like they were being a lot more reactive. And so to see them really just kind of saying, look, we're just going to send 6 or 7 guys at you and see if you can block this many dudes. It's fun to watch, right? It's fun to see that happen. So we'll just see how it goes. I mean, I think that, like I said, things are playing out very favorably for us. It's just gonna, we've seen some things play out favorably for us earlier this season and still not take advantage and win because of some dumb things that we've done, dropping passes, fumbling the ball, letting the ball go through our hands and get intercepted. So I just hope that bad luck is in the past and that the team can really just take control here. And if they do that, then this is all going to seem like a fever dream at the end of the year. And they're going to be like, remember when everybody was asking if the Chiefs were dead?
That was so great.
How silly is that? I mean, they're right. We'll see, man.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the Frank Clark.
Me too.
Breakout these last couple games. That did. I was thinking about him and what's going on. And I mean, the guy didn't forget how to play football.
Right.
He didn't age 10 years in the last year. When he's on his game, he's one of the premier edge rushers in the AFC and the league. I don't know. Maybe he's not a Chase Young or a Myles Garrett, but he's that next tier down from some of those guys. When he's on one and he's playing, that
impact player, right?
That could be huge. Yeah, impact player, no doubt about it. So I just fingers crossed, man, that he's figured out whatever it is, or he's gotten healthy, And we kind of saw that in the Super Bowl season. And people were, oh, they paid him way too much money. And then towards the end of the year in the playoffs, he got healthy and was dialed in and was just in there every game, just pressuring the quarterback, getting sacks, forcing fumbles. He can seal the edge when he's on top of his game. I'm really excited. And I like Frank Clark too. I think
great player.
Yeah, he's great. Not only is he a great player, I don't think Frank Clark's a bad dude either. You know, this gun stuff in California, I don't know people's opinions on that. He didn't shoot at somebody. He wasn't robbing a bank. He wasn't robbing a bank with an Uzi. You know what I mean? Like,
he just had it in his possession, right?
Right. I mean, not only do I think machine guns should be legal, I think most people should have one. So, I mean, I think you should be able to have a bazooka or an RPG too. So that to me is nonsense. That's California bullshit out there. So, yeah, let's go Frank Clark. I think he could be the key moving forward.
Yeah.
As much as people want to talk about the offense and the receivers and this, like, I think he could be the key that unlocks the defense and helps them get to respectability, take the pressure off the offense. Guys aren't pressing, makes it easier to catch passes. Coaching, get in there. You know, McCole, what are you doing? Why did you stop running? Why are you looking to run before you catch the ball? Simple things.
Why did you think you should take it out of the end zone 5 yards deep?
Right. Yeah. You've seen kind of a stop to that stuff lately.
I haven't seen that in a couple of games. Yeah,
I know. Yeah,
which has been encouraging.
Rehashing some old stuff I'm still bitter about.
Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt.
Who do you guys think is our running? You think it's still going to be Williams getting the lion's share of the carries this week?
Yeah, I think he's the starter until Clyde comes back. This team hasn't really shown a propensity or willingness to leapfrog guys over guys, regardless of how they're playing. I don't know that Gore is that much of an improvement over Williams, to be totally candid with you. Just, you know, none of our guys look to be fast or have burst.
Right.
And you watch these other games, and the team's got backup running backs that you look like that guy could be a starter on the Chiefs.
Right. Dernis Johnson or Madison for the Vikings. Like, yeah.
I'm trying to think of the guy's name. Coleman on the Titans. He looked pretty good against the Rams. He had some nice runs and hit some holds. And, you know, I just don't know, man. The Chiefs running game.
Do you think that's a talent problem, or do you think it's a coaching problem?
I think it's a coaching problem. You see all these PFF grades for the centers and the guards on the Chiefs and Joe Tooney. That dude's an all-pro guard from the Patriots. And it looks like there's holes there. It looks like there's room. Just guys just don't – it looks like a big play, and then it's not.
Right. Yeah.
And to me, I think it's just guys are slow. And they're – you remember seeing it with like Larry Johnson towards the end of his career. It looked like Nick said perfect one time. It looks like he's running in sand.
Yeah.
The guys, they just do not look like they have any explosiveness, any burst, any fifth gear. Once they get through that line, man, like you hit the hole, run past some people. Even when they get a hole, they get tackled for an 8 or 9 yard run because the linebackers or secondary guys close down on them. You just don't see anybody hit the hole and it's gone, you know?
Right.
Or at least I don't. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I haven't seen it. I think Patrick Mahomes has our longest rush of the year, or McCole Hardman.
Right.
Not one of our running backs. So, like, no, I think you're completely spot on when you say that. I just wonder why the coaches don't they don't swap him out more, trying to find that RB1 or somebody who wants to be it. Because, like I said, like when we were there live watching him against the Giants, Gore did great. They only played him for like 2 series, but I mean, he scored on one of them. I mean, he was averaging like 9 yards a rush. He didn't do so well last week, but he still did fine. But I mean, why aren't you just swapping in like McKinnon in then? Like, why aren't you just trying out these guys, like seeing who's going to catch a hot streak instead of just waiting for CEH, who's mediocre at best? And I hate to say that, but like, I didn't think the guy was great. Like Scott said, I never saw him break any tackles or break out for a long run. I mean, he played 6 games. And still, Patrick Mahomes still outrushed him for the longest rush. I mean, not rushing yards, but I mean, yeah.
I mean, is a 25-yard run too much to ask for? Come on.
Apparently, 20-yard run. We don't have a back with a 20-yard run this year.
Speaking of,
Right.
do you think Patrick Mahomes runs this week?
I hope so. To me, it looks like people are in that dude's head. Like I
Yep.
don't like.
Yeah.
I don't. How many times have you seen him get a 3rd and 8 by taking off and running?
Yeah.
And I some of it has been, defenses playing back more, but it almost looks like to me like he tucks the ball down like he's going to take off running and takes a couple steps and then stops to look for a play or look for a check down, and it's just not there. And now that's cost you that second you need to get out of there and get you those 3 or 4 yards that you need to get the first down. I just
Yeah.
and
I agree with
it looks
that.
like guys, it looks like he's overthinking when he's out there playing. To me,
Has
think
he
this
has he tried to run since he fumbled the ball on that run?
I don't think so.
Ooh, I don't think so. Yeah, that's a good point. You think that's where his fumble is coming from? Getting caught in limbo or in purgatory out there, trying to decide if he wants to run and
That was
pass?
just the guy ran him down from behind, and he didn't know he was there, and the guy punched the ball out.
Yeah, I mean, and Mahomes, if you watch that play, he's holding the ball in his like he's going to throw it, and then he tucks it away, and then it gets punched out. So I mean, I just think it was a good defensive play there.
Sometimes you got Sometimes you got to tip your cap and credit the other team for making a good play. And I'd like to see our defense start doing some of that, punching the ball out, creating some turnovers. Snead had the interception last week, which was good to see. The Chiefs, they won the turnover battle finally this season. And hey, look at that, they won. It's a miracle.
Weird.
A miracle. Yeah, I don't know. Did I tell you guys about the Green Bay fan, the story from the game Sunday?
Yeah.
He was telling me about the Jordan Love.
Yeah.
And the reason they picked him is because they remind him of Patrick Mahomes, and he looked like Patrick Mahomes in college and all. And it was like maybe 5 or 8 minutes halfway through the 4th quarter, and he threw that interception to Snead, and the guy goes, "You don't look like no Patrick Mahomes to me." It was funny, but and I think I gave kudos and credit to Green Bay fans who were at the game last Sunday, but I'll do it again, man. They were cool. They had fun. It was a really good atmosphere and energy at that game. One of the better ones of recent memory that I've been to, and it was just fun. And yeah, they weren't obnoxious. Sometimes you can tell other fans, they know they're in the other team's stadium, so they're like overly being obnoxious and boisterous. And I'm not saying you can't celebrate for him, but we all know it. We've all been to games before.
We all know that guy.
Fans. You can tell they're trying to rub it in and trying to taunt and trying to be an ass. And there really wasn't any of that around me anyway. So good job, Pack Nation, Cheeseheads. They showed out. There was a pretty fair number of them there too. I'm not going to say it was 50-50, but it was a good probably 65-35 somewhere in their mix. I mean, probably 2-1 Chiefs fans somewhere in there, I would say. It was a really good game. So looking forward to Sunday Night Football tonight. Like Nick said, it gives you a chance to get some stuff done during the day. I get a little worked up during the game zone. It's hard to go to bed afterwards. And 5:15 comes early the next morning for me. So
that's what's nice.
Yeah, exactly. I love personally. I love the noon games. The 3 o'clock games are the worst. The 3:30 games, because they're like, that doesn't give you enough time to really go out and do a whole lot of stuff, get stuff done during the day, and then by the time the game's over and you're getting it now, it's dinner time, and it's your night's over and it's Sunday Night Football. So, but prime time's always fun. Gonna go into Las Vegas. Chiefs trying to go 2-0 in that building out there, whatever they call it, the Death Star or the Toilet Bowl or whatever you want.
Toilet Bowl.
Whatever you want to call it out there. So I don't know if you guys got anything else you want to talk about. Looks like we're about 30 minutes to kickoff from the noon games here.
Look at that. Dang. All right. No, man. It's always fun talking with you guys. I love talking Chiefs football. Love doing this podcast. If you are watching or you're watching later, please like and subscribe and tell a friend. Share this video with a friend. Let them know we're talking Chiefs. Trying to line up a guest for our podcast on Tuesday. Waiting to hear back.
Right.
Mr. Texas, you know who you are. Let me know.
Yeah, for sure. We'd love to have some Chiefs Kingdom on here. We'd love to get some comments. So if you all can come in, join live, shoot those comments over. Pick games with us on Saturdays or Sundays, and come in and shoot us some questions. You can find us on all of our social media platforms at The Kingdom Cast. Obviously, if you're watching this, you know where to find us on YouTube. So I guess until next time, let's go beat those Oakland Raiders.
Let's go, Chiefs!
And they'll
Go,
always be the Oakland
Chiefs!
Raiders. I don't care that they're in Las Vegas now. Las Vegas is too cool and too good to have the Raiders. Okay, they're the Oakland Raiders playing in Las Vegas. So, with that, let's go Chiefs, and we'll talk to y'all next Tuesday at 6:00.
Deuces.
Deuces.